The Serengeti is far more than an endless plain. It is the stage for the greatest survival test on Earth. Each year, millions of animals are compelled to move in the Great Migration, driven by hunger, thirst, and an ancient instinct that cannot be silenced. The ground quakes beneath countless hooves, while the air grows heavy with tension and unspoken warnings. Here, survival offers no second chances. In the tall grass, watchful eyes track every movement with calculated precision. In the rivers, danger waits in silence beneath murky waters. A single moment of hesitation can mean the end. The migration is not a journey. It is an unbroken trial where only the fastest, the strongest, and the most alert manage to move forward. Each sunrise brings fresh chasers, and each sunset leaves behind exhausted bodies and lives cut short. In the Serengeti, nature watches without mercy or intervention. There are no heroes and no villains, only animals pushed to their limits by an unforgiving law: move on or vanish. And as the herd presses ahead, one question lingers in the air: who will be next to fall, and who will endure to the very end? February arrives, and the Serengeti pulses at the peak of the green season. Some animals move forward, driven by hunger, while others withdraw into a tense stillness, preparing for a journey shaped by fate itself. A queen's crown is not forged from gold, but from sacrifice and scars. After giving birth, the lioness's body becomes an exhausted sanctuary. Yet the cry of her cub is a sacred summons. Even before she has recovered, she must endure relentless hunger to produce milk, the sole lifeline for her young. Weakened and worn, the noble queen is often forced to survive on scraps and carrion, turning meager remains into daily sustenance just to endure another day. When the queens can no longer carry the burden alone, the king is compelled to step down from his throne of pride. The lion's fiery mane is a symbol of dominance, but also a visible disadvantage. Its size gives him away during a stalk, and the heat drains his strength quickly in long pursuits. For this reason, males rarely take part in endurance hunts. But when the cubs stand on the edge of survival, they become instruments of raw force. A young warthog offers an opportunity prey that demands little energy. In that moment, deep within dense brush, the coalition of dominant males must display strength and muscle. A coordinated kill unfolds a world without mercy, where the instinct of the ruler overpowers the maternal defense of the prey. Elsewhere, hidden among tall, rain-soaked grasses, life emerges quietly. Raindrops cling to leaves as a zebra mother licks her newborn, removing insects and imprinting her scent into the foal's memory. On the savannah, slowness is a death sentence. Zebra foals are born as natural athletes capable of standing within just 10 to 20 minutes of birth. Scientists call them precocial born, with nearly fully developed limbs, ready to flee from predators almost immediately. They run toward milk, rich in energy, racing after the herd with astonishing speed. But danger does not always come from predators. Sometimes it wears the same stripes. In struggles for dominance, the victor may become a tyrant. Infanticide is a harsh and ruthless evolutionary strategy. A dominant male has no interest in raising the offspring of a defeated rival. Instead, he seeks to bring the female back into estrus to pass on his own genes. Faced with such a brutal instinct, the zebra mother must silence her fear. In a world where life is paid for in blood, maternal love rises as the final barrier against selfish inheritance. As the ancient words remind us, love does not fail. If a zebra foal has up to an hour to stand, a wildebeest calf is granted only minutes. During the Great Migration, more than 500,000 calves are born within a matter of weeks, an explosion of life that draws predators from every direction. Minerals from volcanic ash enrich the grass, turning milk into powerful fuel that strengthens newborn bones. But this nourishment marks the beginning of an unforgiving path. A wildebeest calf must stand within 3 to 7 minutes and begin running within 15 to 20. Only after moving can it nurse. Barely 1 in 10 will reach adulthood. In this endless race, every second matters, and speed is demanded from the very first breath. By April, the rains begin to fade, and the grasslands slowly thin. The migrating herds enter their final stage of preparation. Groups that once moved separately begin to merge, forming vast columns poised for a long and punishing journey. Zebras typically set off 2 to 3 weeks ahead of the wildebeest. With faster digestion, they consume tougher grasses and unintentionally become the pathfinders of the migration. Wildebeest follow in search of younger, protein-rich grass suited to their complex digestive systems. The zebra's sharp vision and alert hearing serve as an early warning system, detecting danger and shielding those that move behind them. Together, they advance an ancient procession driven by instinct, endurance, and the relentless demand to survive. Their young are now strong enough to keep pace with the herd, unlike the newborn wildebeest, who still need precious time to build stamina. The lioness, recovered from the physical toll of motherhood, turns her focus to the front ranks of the migration. Hunting zebras demands a level of coordination far more precise than hunts against wildebeest. A zebra does not surrender easily. A single backward kick can deliver a force close to 15,000 newtons, enough to shatter the face of any would-be ruler. One moment of miscalculation is all it takes for hunter and hunted to switch roles. Fortunately, lions are social animals. Without the strength of the group, no cub would survive to inherit the legacy. In the end, the line between triumph and disaster is measured in a single strike. In the realm of shadows, silence is an unbreakable rule. The leopard, solitary and ghost-like, moves with flawless stealth. Its crown is forged not through brute force, but through patience and mastery of camouflage. The zebra is tempting prey, predictable paths near water, and a powerful body rich in muscle. Yet the leopard avoids the adults. Instead, it targets vulnerability, the young. Before the migration begins, zebra mothers must train their foals to cross shallow water. Against expectation, maternal instinct interrupts the predator's plan. The leopard shuns prolonged conflict. It relies on a sudden, decisive attack from darkness. Today, however, it fails, driven back by the fierce courage of a zebra mother. But this encounter is only a prelude. Unlike the striped flow of zebras, the world of the wildebeest comes to a standstill during the mating season. When a calf reaches 2 months of age, the female returns to estrus, igniting an internal war among adult males. From an evolutionary perspective, this is the final gamble. With migration looming, the chance to reproduce is slipping away. Males roar, strike the ground with their hooves, and lash their tails in defiant display. Every movement is a public declaration of strength meant to impress watching females. Here, patience outweighs speed. While males perform their rituals of power, the females remain silent, gazing toward the sky. They sense the scent of rain drifting in from the northwest. Dark clouds on the horizon signal the end of brief courtship and the beginning of a journey with no return. When the signal arrives, the wildebeest have no choice. They must move. They can reach bursts of nearly 80 kilometers per hour and travel between 8 and 15 kilometers each day. Zebras, capable of sprinting up to 65 kilometers per hour, slow their pace to accommodate them. They lead the way with frequent pauses and heightened vigilance, covering roughly 5 to 10 kilometers daily. Once these two vast armies have passed, and the plains are stripped down to their roots, the final athletes of the migration emerge onto the stage, the gazelles. The gazelles wait for the gardeners of the savannah to do their work, cutting the grass low and revealing tender new shoots rich in protein and in something just as vital: visibility. The landscape opens up, and their eyes can scan for danger from far away. They move in groups of 10 to 50 individuals, light and fast, like arrows drawn tight before release. But in the shadows between the rocks, the predator's crown is already watching. It waits for a single second of disorder among these soldiers of speed. In the dust cloud of the Serengeti, an evolutionary paradox is revealed: the gazelle can approach speeds of 100 kilometers per hour, nearly twice the top speed of a lion. Yet on the chessboard of survival, speed alone means little against the art of ambush and patience. The predator exploits the short grass, closes the distance, and launches a lightning attack. Even with sharp zigzags and powerful leaps, the gazelle falls to brute force and an unforgiving trap. After hundreds of kilometers under the sun, the three musketeers of the migration face their final trial, the Mara River, where danger hides beneath muddy waters. When a wildebeest mother plunges in, she carves a path of blood for the next generation. She defies the current, and her fate surrendering her calf to nature's law. Beneath the surface, the Nile crocodile waits for the slightest mistake. If the young one reaches the far bank, life reasserts itself through courage. In the race to exist, not all make it to the promised land. The zebra swims with skill, protected by thick skin, and kicks powerful enough to shatter jaws. Even so, the oldest crocodiles wait for chaos. Zebras and wildebeest know the river. The gazelle, however, is inexperienced. It does not sense the danger lurking below. When the leader enters the water, instinct pulls the rest into a deadly trap. In a matter of minutes, more than half of a group of 22 can vanish. Do you see it? Speed does not always save, but slowness is a direct invitation to the crocodile. This is the song of the savannah. Those who remain must move forward under constant pressure. Of the 1.3 million wildebeest that leave the Serengeti, only a fraction completes the journey. Hundreds of thousands fall to exhaustion, disease, or fangs. And the smallest, like the gazelles, pay the price of maintaining the balance of the continent. When hooves finally touch the opposite shore, the herd believes it has left the green hell behind. But in the Maasai Mara, salvation proves to be a cruel mirage. lionesses turn the crossing points into true banquets, taking advantage of their prey's extreme exhaustion. Zebras advance tightly packed, pressed against one another like a collective shield, blocking access to the strongest individuals, still heavy, still fast. Yet nature grants no mercy to those who lag behind or carry wounds. When the boundary between life and death is drawn in pain, the victor's crown ends up stained with the blood of the stragglers, just as it is written in Matthew 24:13. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. The goal of this journey is not measured in kilometers, but in the silent faith that burns through countless trials. The Mara enters its most intense chapter when the massive waves spilling out of the Serengeti pours onto its plains. It is also the moment when the queens of speed bear the full weight of motherhood on their shoulders. Raising offspring in the middle of migration is a merciless equation dictated by nature. Mothers must secure food for the next generation. To reach speeds of up to 112 kilometers per hour, the cheetah sacrifices defense. Her body becomes an aerodynamic machine, an oversized heart, powerful lungs, and a spine flexible like a spring. But that speed can be sustained for less than 30 seconds. Oxygen runs out and the body overheats. During migration, every acceleration of the mother is both a hunt and a form of protection for the cubs hidden in the grass. And just after victory comes the most dangerous moment. Exhaustion opens a crack through which death can steal everything away. Beneath the eyes, a black stripe acts as a natural filter, reducing the sun's glare and allowing the prey to remain locked in under the unforgiving daylight. Every feature of the cheetah's body serves a single-purpose pursuit. But before the explosion of power, Everything begins with waiting. The hell of speed is unleashed when this land torpedo reaches 100 kilometers per hour in a matter of seconds, faster than many sports cars. If contact is not made within roughly 300 meters, the strength fades. The hunt ends when the claws grip tight and the bite closes around the trachea, sending the prey into a final sleep. After triumph comes the fatal gap. The cheetah family must eat quickly before other predators arrive to steal the prize. In the world of speed, the distance between victory and total loss is as fragile as a breath. While the solitary female bears the crown of motherhood, elsewhere on the savanna alliances of males raise their dominion on the strength of teamwork. This time, the target is the wildebeest, a mass of muscle 3 times heavier than the hunter. Alone, a cheetah would avoid such a risk. A single blow or one mistake would be enough to seal her fate. But in a group, the males know how to advance against the wind, hide among the bushes, and erase their scent and even their breath. When the moment of attack arrives, even then the alliance feeds quickly on the most valuable parts and withdraws, returning the rest of the body to the savanna. The cheetah does not use her slender body to fight only to secure sustenance. Meanwhile, the first cubs of the litter begin to grow, and hunting lessons commence. The mother patient and resolute chooses the most demanding challenge to teach them the zebra. In this race, audacity sometimes pushes the body beyond its own limits. The zebra is far stronger than the cheetah, even though it reaches only about half her speed. A single kick from its hind legs is enough to turn glory into a slow and devastating agony. The cheetah's skull, designed with thin, lightweight bones, exists solely for running. An injury of that kind is an irreversible sentence. Like Abraham, who once dared to offer Isaac's sacrifice for the sake of the future generation, is a sacred principle etched into every footprint of the herd. The turbulence of the savannah would not be complete without the army of the night, the spotted hyena. When migration brings abundance, these hunters do not settle for carrion. Up to 90% of what they consume comes from active hunts. A disproportionately large heart turns them into tireless endurance runners. Each chase is a test of stamina that ends only when the prey collapses from exhaustion. Under a strict matriarchal system, hyena clans exploit the migration to expand their dominion. Amid constant movement, they act as final judges, cleansing the savannah with a cold, unsettling persistence. Under the blazing October sky, wildebeest calves already show greater strength after the long journey. But nature insists on testing them once more with the nocturnal army. This time, the hyenas underestimate the call of blood. The wildebeest mother transforms fear into a fierce counterattack to defend her calf. She learns and teaches that you do not hunt in a river when you have short legs. The impact, charged with fury, proves that even the crown of dominance can tremble before the power of a mother. In a world of red dust and turbulent waters, a heavy body can become a death sentence when facing one who is defending what matters most. The spotted hyena does not give up easily. Learning from past mistakes, the shadowy queens unleash their harsh laughter to rally the clan. and when cruelty becomes organized, they choose a different target, slower, weaker, with fewer options. An old, worn zebra from the group. Death arrives when the circle closes. Unlike lions, which go for the throat, hyenas attack from all sides, focusing on the hips and hind legs. It is a brutal tactic, but one calculated with precision, disabling escape and counterattacks before the prey can react. They begin to feed while it is still breathing, a harsh scene, yet essential for their survival. Without ceremony, they consume the softest organs first, using every second before other scavengers arrive. In the savannah, caution is never excessive. In northern Namibia, about 500 kilometers from Windhoek, lies Etosha National Park. Covering approximately 22,270 square kilometers, it is one of the largest natural sanctuaries on the continent, a beating heart of sub-Saharan Africa. Here, more than 114 species of mammals have been recorded, around 340 birds, some 110 species of reptiles, and 16 amphibians. All of these creatures are perfectly adapted to the semi-arid climate and to temporary water sources. From May to October, the dry season takes hold of Etosha. The Great Etosha Pan loses its water and is laid bare as an immense sheet of cracked salt beneath the relentless sun. Each year, the same test of endurance is repeated, dictated by the immutable laws of nature. With no alternatives, herbivores are forced to gather at the same waterholes. In that unavoidable act, they place themselves in a position of involuntary surrender, offering predators the opportunity that the savannah never fails to seize. Stocky in appearance, standing up to 1.5 meters tall and weighing close to 100 kilograms, the black rhinoceros is far from an easy animal to overpower. It carries two horns that grow continuously throughout its life. Essential weapons both for self-defense and for confrontations with other members of its species during moments of tension. Despite its name, the black rhinoceros does not have dark skin, but rather gray, often taking on earthy tones after wallowing in mud. Its diet is based mainly on shrubs, made possible by a prehensile upper lip, nimble like a finger, which allows it to precisely select the most tender leaves. Most of the water it needs is obtained directly from vegetation, enabling it to survive for several days without drinking from open water sources. The parched ground of Ocauquejo vibrates beneath the firm, steady march of a herd of blue wildebeest. Standing at around 125 centimeters tall and weighing close to 200 kilograms, the blue wildebeest has a solid muscular build. Its coat is an intense silvery gray that under the sun reflects bluish hues accentuated by a long black mane and a thick beard running along the chin. Despite its heavy appearance, it is far from slow. In critical situations, it can reach speeds of up to 80 kilometers per hour, a crucial advantage in an environment like Etosha, where predators are never far away. This antelope lives in groups that can range from a few dozen individuals to massive concentrations, numbering in the thousands. It is precisely this social behavior that shapes the ecological identity of Ocauquejo. As specialized grazers, blue wildebeest feed mainly on short grasses that regenerate quickly after each rainfall. Their digestive systems are adapted to process tough, low-nutrient grasses, an obvious advantage during the long, dry season, when vegetation becomes scarce and loses quality. In Ocauquejo, artificial waterholes become true lifelines during the dry months. Blue wildebeest visit them daily, especially at dawn or dusk, avoiding the extreme heat of midday. When temperatures rise above 45 degrees Celsius, the air turns dense and motionless, and small groups approach the water in loose formations, their sensors on high alert. Watchful eyes, ears held upright, a quick flick of the tail, or a brief grunt from the throat, each gesture functions as a silent language that keeps the herd united in a state of tense calm. Thanks to their large numbers and their constant movement in search of fresh pasture, these herds prevent vegetation from growing excessively or becoming old and unproductive. Continuous grazing stimulates the regrowth of new plants and allows the landscape to renew itself after each rainy season. As a result, many smaller species, from insects to birds, benefit from this simple yet profound process, thriving in a more dynamic and healthy ecosystem that the wildebeest helps sustain. In Etosha, migratory behavior still persists, although it is now limited by an increasingly reduced living space. Herds confined to smaller areas begin to show a slow decline in genetic diversity. The loss of genetic variability poses a serious challenge to the future of the species, making adaptation to environmental changes, such as prolonged droughts and an increasingly unstable climate, more difficult. Their reproduction follows the rhythm of the seasons. Mating usually occurs after the rains, when fresh grass provides a temporary abundance that ensures a stronger start for the next generation. Often moving side by side with the wildebeest herds is the plains zebra. Its coat of alternating black and white stripes is unmistakable. Each individual carries a unique pattern, as distinctive as a fingerprint. Serengeti closes its story in an unsettling silence, where neither victories nor defeats are eternal. After every breath-stealing chase and every river crossing marked by danger during the Great Migration, life continues its march, paid for with sweat, blood, and bodies left behind. Here, survival is not a right, but a reward, reserved for those fast, strong, and resilient enough to adapt to the harshness of nature. The battles fought across the plains of the Serengeti are not mere acts of hunting. They are the ancestral pulse that has kept this ecosystem alive for millions of years. Every step of the migration fertilizes the land. Every confrontation maintains natural balance, and every sacrifice fulfills a purpose within an implacable cycle. When one individual falls, hundreds of others can move forward, and that is the cruel yet fair law of the wild world. Today, this fragile balance faces ever-growing threats. Climate change, habitat loss, and human pressure are breaking ancient migratory routes and forcing animals to fight even harder for their existence. Protecting the Serengeti is not only about defending wildlife, it is about preserving a natural legacy for humanity, a place where life and death continue to write their story every single day. If this journey through the Serengeti has allowed you to feel the brutal beauty and the true value of the wild, we invite you to become part of this mission. Like and subscribe to Hidden Planet TV, so we can continue exploring together the raw, real, and thrilling stories of the planet's greatest battles for survival.